Practice on the blocked feeling of guilt. What is the danger of blocked guilt? With this very emotion, we block enormous flows of energy within ourselves that we could use. This is the very blockage through which we can be manipulated. Many of us have been manipulated by feelings of guilt since childhood. Guilty towards parents, guilty towards school, towards teachers, towards society. And many of us were suppressed. We devised a scheme to block it. We compressed this emotion within ourselves. We blocked it. And now these blockages are present in many people, each in their own area. For some it's health, for others it's money, for others it's relationships. But these are our triggers, and many of us can be manipulated by them now. At that moment, when some manipulations occur, we start to contract, we begin to merge, we feel uncomfortable, and we lose our strength. And we need these strengths to achieve our goals, just like all others. Therefore, this feeling of guilt hinders us from living, especially if it is blocked, particularly if it is in denial of perceiving this energy. And we can see situations where we feel awkward, we feel guilty. Someone might ask us to stay after work, to work for free on a Sunday. The person feels uncomfortable. These triggers start to work. It is precisely such people who experience this emotion in situations that do not particularly align with our desires. And this also affects illnesses. Any blockages, emotional blockages, later impact the health of our body. There will be many such situations that we evaluate as feeling guilty about something somewhere. And the task is to discover these blockages within ourselves. There is a special methodical practice for this, which we will follow and work on the feeling of guilt. It can be found everywhere within us. The possibility of earning more money than our parents. These can be hidden pitfalls that we may not even see right now. But at the same time, we must allow ourselves to experience this feeling. One of the tasks is to accept guilt within ourselves, to accept those emotions that we once suppressed. In practice, all of this will become vivid. Therefore, we are preparing now. The practice will begin shortly. Lie down. Let's start.
We relax. We relax the eyes, nose, mouth, temples, forehead, top of the head, back of the head, and ears. We directly run through the areas that I mentioned, focusing our attention, neck, throat, the entire chest. Shoulders, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, or fingers on the hands, such as upper lower abdomen, including the lower back, region of the sacrum coccyx, as well as the pelvis as a whole, hip joints, thighs, knees, calves, and also the feet and soles and the surrounding areas, extending to and even reaching the entirety of these regions. Fingers on the feet, just a quick relaxation. The whole body is as relaxed as possible. We shift our focus to the chest, the fourth center, and a calm, deep breath, calm, long exhale. We examine the fourth one, listen to it, check for any distortions, whether it is even, whether the pressure is equal. Breathe calmly, take a deep breath and relax. Listen closely to your body and pay close attention to the signals your body is sending you. We hang up a request right in front of us. Is it my fault? Am I indeed guilty? We observe the body's reaction. Something external, perhaps an external force or influence, tells us we are guilty or at fault, and we observe and note the body's reaction. What exactly are we entering? Into resistance or into guilt, specifically in this context, in terms of our actions, or in relation to our feelings? If it's resistance, then where in the body? What is the expression? What is the reaction? Do we want to defend ourselves, or do we want to fail? Indeed. At the same time, there is a failure in the body when we are not appreciated. Our actions are unappreciated, and we indulge in guilt. At the same time, the jaw shows resistance. There is a desire to prove something, and the shoulder blades react. We carefully examine ourselves. We examine our legs. The legs have started to tense up. We mentally tell ourselves, I am guilty, I am guilty. We don't think about anything, just I am guilty. And we listen to the reactions of the body. Here resentment is also mixed in and a sense of bitterness. The body is being crushed. There is resistance in the jaw and many painful points throughout the body, in the kidneys, in the liver. The legs have different densities. We examine any changes between the right and left sides of the body. In the jaw and in the lymphatic system, many do not understand this about me, and the body begins to retreat. Guilt. Guilt closing in on oneself. We listen to our eyes, we listen to the subtle facial expressions, how our body reacts when something from outside accuses us. Expressions of misunderstanding. We examine our eyes, our belly, our hands. The body almost goes into a state of stillness. When we are guilty, there is stillness. We do not defend ourselves yet. We examine where in the body there are records, how to react when we are accused. We examine our reactions. Everything we hear in the body we amplify. All movements, wherever the body goes, we help it move in that direction. We thoroughly examine ourselves. I am deeply guilty. We slightly wind ourselves up with these words. We examine our legs, how the pelvis bends, what painful tensions appear in the abdomen from the back, front, and back. What tensions are in the head? The head is very much tilted. We look, are the eyes positioned equally? When we find ourselves feeling guilty, we tend to take a closer look at our actions and reflect on what we have done, examining our behavior and decisions more thoroughly. The head is very much tilted, the pelvis is twisted back crookedly. We observe all the tensions, how we tense up when something or someone accuses us. Let's place our mother in front of us, who says that you are guilty. Either there is some manipulation through guilt. We look at our mother and examine our reactions. We take from the court when our mother was guilty in our reaction, or when our mother accused us of our reaction. We carefully observe our body, how the breath changes, how the body tenses up. The legs are different, the pelvis is twisted differently. At the same time, we try to relax the body as much as possible. There is a lot of tension in the head, a desire to justify oneself. We amplify everything that is felt in the body. Even if you are currently entering some resistance, we amplify the resistance. Everything that the body will show now, we intensify in every possible way. Unravel this structure to the fullest extent possible. Mom blames us. We look at mom. Either mom is guilty of something herself. We look at mom and feel the body. Communication with mom, a request, a feeling of guilt. We see a lot of suffering in the chest, in the facial expressions. Just relax, sink deeply, and trust this feeling. Where is the feeling of guilt? And we examine everything, amplify it. There is a lot of suffering, suffering from the undervaluation of something, or on the contrary, incorrect assessments from our point of view. We indeed suffer. Maximum suffering is truly guilt. When a sense of guilt truly resides in our body, everything around us will indeed poke at us to make us feel guilty. And try to pull it out of the body. Let's extract it in practice. It doesn't matter what we are guilty of. It doesn't matter at all. There is a blocked feeling of guilt. And then the events will come up with how to dig it out. And we go and allow ourselves to feel guilty. Just like Mom, I allow myself to feel guilty. I am guilty, guilty. We speak it out loud and clearly. I permit myself to fully be this way. Let's openly enjoy this feeling of guilt. A strong emotion, it certainly allows us to avoid doing something to not feel guilty. We can do nothing, not develop, and get trapped in guilt. We look at Mom, I am guilty, guilty. We examine the subtle facial expressions, how all of this is recorded, how we show our feelings of guilt with our faces, thereby irritating the space even more. We amplify all sensations. There is tension, a lot of tension in the pelvis, slightly changing position, a lot of tension in the back, right behind the hip joint. Everything is tense where the kidneys are. We examine, we look at Mom. I am undeniably guilty, truly and deeply guilty. There is a significant and noticeable amount of pleading in the face, a plea of such misunderstanding that I am being accused. There is a lot of tension in the chest. The body is breathing poorly. Observe carefully. Learn to hear the body's reactions. There are indeed a lot of distortions in the head. The skull is all uneven. We look around, intensifying. The body shows the brightest. We go into the brightest. We also keep the rest in focus. We simply watch how our entire fascial system goes into motion, unwinding, unraveling the body, unraveling all our constructs that we have built. We leave with understanding of Mom, we consider Dad, we look at Dad. Dad, I am guilty, guilty. We speak it out loud inside and listen to the body's reactions. Our task is not to argue with anyone or anything, but to look within ourselves. We examine the reaction to guilt. Guilt can be internal or external. Our task is to find the body's reaction. Here, there is more desire to argue, to twitch, to escape. The calves are twisting. There is a lot of tension in the calves. If the body tenses up, we periodically remember to relax it. We relax the body, but where it pulls, we mentally add focus there, intensifying that structure. We certainly need to finish all these unfinished stories, those not fully lived in childhood or later. Again, there are many distortions in the head, twitching, there are sharp pains, nausea, there is a feeling in the esophagus, a rejection of oneself is happening, guilty. We are suffering mentally. We allow ourselves to experience this feeling of guilt, how it looks in the body, the trembling lower lip, the jaw, feeling guilty. Not understood, not appreciated. There are many painful points. In the groin on the right and left, in the lymphatic system, everything is constricted there. We examine ourselves, The arms are moving, the shoulders are moving. Just such a living structure. We are examining it together. Tensions gradually change. Therefore, the body is slowly twisting, as if shedding these stories to the depth at which we are now ready. There is quite a lot of nausea coming from the abdomen, from the center of the abdomen up the esophagus. I remind you, nausea is a rejection of oneself, of some next, different self. Guilty, we suffer, Dad, I am guilty. We examine, it doesn't matter, Dad was guilty. And we watched how he resolved it. Either Dad blamed us, we are not thinking now. We are observing the structure. We just feel with the body knows what to do. The request, the feeling of guilt. We are examining the subtle facial expressions. The body suffers. As if standing under the moon we howl, it hurts. Underappreciation, imposter syndrome, everything is wrong. We are examining. You may have some resistances. We also amplify the resistances. The task is to follow the most vivid tensions in the body or emotions, whichever is more convenient for you, or by colors, or by sounds. Everything you hear, we amplify. Vibrations. We proceed in the way that is most comfortable for you to read your body. There is a lot of nausea in the body. It's a direct vibration of nausea. I do not accept myself as the next one. I am used to being like this. Our task is to gradually improve ourselves like this, to see that we have a sense of guilt, that we can be poked at this, and to go into it and agree, yes, I am like this, and let me allow myself to be guilty. Guilty. I directly allow it. If it exists, then it exists. We go into this consciously, allowing ourselves to be like this. This is a part of me. There is a lot of suffering, a very unpleasant vibration of nausea throughout the body. Everyone listens to their most vivid feelings, what they feel. Very bad. There is a lot of nausea. The body has different transparencies. We examine ourselves, we look at our fingers. They can freeze or, on the contrary, warm up. The legs seem to be stomping in place, one becomes longer than the other. There is a spinning going on, the pelvis is rotating, meaning we have tensions in the abdomen and lower back. Sometimes it pulls here, sometimes there, and the pelvis seems to be rotating in space. You release tension, we make the body freer, its vibration changes, we start to sound differently, fewer people will blame us, so we work as sincerely as possible with ourselves, allowing ourselves to be guilty of everything, always and everywhere. I allow myself to be guilty always, everywhere, in everything. And we listen to the body's reactions. We listen. Let the body unravel everything. Any prohibition will be a forbidden fruit, and we will fall into it, so we always allow everything. Whenever something happens in life, we immediately dive inside and examine ourselves. Where is the hook? If the world hooks you, it means there is a hook inside. Like a burdock, a little thorn sticks out. We are hooked. There is a lot of nausea going up the esophagus. We listen to ourselves. I chatter so your brain doesn't think. We look inside ourselves. We learn to keep our heads silent. Nausea is going up the left side of the esophagus. The body is constantly spinning. Slowly, slowly we learn to hear these micro movements of the fascia. Each time you release such tensions, you make your body lighter and freer. The body becomes more flexible. You allow more energy, electricity to flow through your own actions. It does not get hooked on these social frameworks, in this case the feeling of guilt. A lot of suffering is flying around. We place both parents in front of us, just examining our parents. Dad, Mom, I am guilty, guilty. There are a lot of many small and tiny little and numerous teardrops. Somewhere around the age of 3, I now see that the majority of people instill a sense of guilt in themselves. 3 to 4 years old. Right there, Dad and Mom, we are 3 to 4 years old, and this feeling of guilt arises when we start to understand that we can be manipulated like this. We just unload. I am guilty, guilty. That is, at this age we are already aware, we can already be bent by this. Alright, okay, we agree. We are in agreement, indeed. We examine our facial expressions, chest, hands, how the body behaves when we feel guilty. We amplify everything. We agree. Yes, I am like this. We completely dissolve into this feeling of guilt. Let's enjoy it. We just spread out in the body. We turn off all evaluative judgments. After all, it's just a vibration. We dissolve. We simply say to ourselves, my guilt is in every cell of my body, and I no longer hide it from myself. I allow myself to feel guilt. In every cell of the body, we completely dissolve. The focus of attention in every cell of the body. We stretch this feeling of guilt into every cell. We just pull. The body balances, the body becomes as straight as possible. My guilt is deeply embedded in every cell of my body and soul. We turn off this label. After all, it's just energy. Just pure power, just absolute pleasure and enjoyment. We dissolve. It's just energy of a certain frequency of vibration, which we have named this way, and we perceive it in a certain way. This frequency of vibration is also needed to achieve certain tasks. Therefore, I spread it through every cell of the body evenly, without any hooks or thorns. It's just absolutely, undoubtedly energy, just pure power, just sheer pleasure in every single cell of the body. And with each breath, our body becomes larger, and we manifest more brightly with this vibration, already without evaluative judgment. Let's just express it within ourselves and outward. As you inhale deeply, your body gradually expands, creating a sense of spaciousness. This newfound space feels like a larger apartment, offering more room to breathe and move freely, enhancing your comfort and relaxation. More house. We definitely derive pleasure from this vibration. Sincere, conscious pleasure. We allow it to exist both in the body and around it. More city. We grow. We spread out. The body grows up and down. It elongates left and right, forward and backward. As we move diagonally, we transcend our boundaries, growing beyond a single nation. Our influence expands, making us more significant than just a country. We stretch our presence further, surpassing even the vastness of a continent. We become as vast as the size of the earth in our imagination. Let's hum this vibration across the entire earth, allowing it to be without judgment, just as something that exists, like color, like light, like vibration, like an accepted vibration, like power, the power that we use for ourselves. As we embark on our journey, we soar higher and higher into the vast expanse of the sky. Our mission is to extend our reach, venturing far beyond the familiar boundaries of Earth's atmosphere, exploring the unknown. And we are already near the moon. Fox, attention, we are landing on the moon, looking at ourselves below. On Earth, we eat popcorn, watch movies, and feel the big, immersive experience, feeling this vibration deeply. We leave the popcorn behind, fly further, expanding infinitely in all directions, exploring the vastness of space. We go beyond the galaxy, expanding our horizons, accelerating to the maximum frequencies of the universe. Ultrasound technology, even higher frequencies. The body is light and weightless, hanging down in the center, while our concentration of attention goes in all directions, even higher. A light coolness to the body in expansion. Good, we descend down, back. We approach ourselves again, to ourselves here, in this material world. The focus of attention in every cell of the body. We listen to our sound. Calm, long inhale. Calm, long exhale. Focus on the chest. We open our eyes and take a moment to appreciate. Focus intently in our 3D space. Welcome back. Have a good day. Goodbye.
We conducted a practice on the feeling of guilt. Your bodies have maximally released everything you allowed them to release just now. It is better to repeat the practice regularly. We have very large deposits of constructs. We could have stuffed and hidden all of this very deeply within ourselves. We are specialists. For building a construct for one emotion, we placed another. But the task is to periodically repeat this practice. If you notice any strong distortions within yourself, we repeat and repeat. It should be such that we lie down and enjoy. That is, in the practice we talk about guilt, and our body receives immense pleasure. This flow goes through us, and we do not resist it anywhere. And then we are released. We are released precisely when we agree with this feeling, when it exists within us. And then we become untouchable. Then we cannot be manipulated in that direction. That is, our task is to become untouchable. Therefore, we practice regularly. Be sure to comment on what you felt, what your state was, and where you managed to get to. And in general, after each practice, after each repetition, unload your thoughts. Be sure to write. If it is really necessary, I will highlight and suggest where to look and what to do. Do the practices where they are posted, where they are recorded. Do not rewrite the practices for yourself. They become non-functional because you only take the text. The meanings themselves are written in the space, and we track them there, and we work with them there. We cleanse them, as if we are constantly rinsing a pool and endowing it with new meanings, new knowledge. When you copy everything, you are just cooking for yourself. So it's better to do the practices where they are located, in those networks where you use them. I look forward to your comments.